Hello, I want to welcome you to our last class and the last study of a very important topic about the true essence of what it means to be a good teacher. We all struggle with trying to improve our craft and become effective teachers. And so Parker Palmer here is going to describe to us some of the important aspects of becoming that authentic and real teacher that we've learned to appreciate in our own experiences. As teachers, we're either doing one of two things. We're either oppressing our young people or putting chains on them, or we're liberating them, freeing them. And Parker Palmer talks about freeing them from the chains of conformity, distortions, illusions about their own selfhood. And this is such an important topic, and I hope that as you read through this, you'll be able to relate to it yourself about the distortions of reality that we've all grown up with, and the distortions about ourselves, and come to know ourselves differently because of this study. And so he asked the question is how do we become truly free? And it is only through the truth about ourselves can we be truly free, free to live life with integrity. And we know that by knowing the truth, it will set you free. So I want to ask a few questions to begin with to kind of lay the foundation for this. What does it mean to be educated or to educate someone? We often think of it as something that we do to people that is education. We share our ideas or thoughts. But the Latin root of the word educate is educe, meaning to draw out, to pull out of our students those things that are really important to them in their lives and to discover truth that way. It's a different way to look at truth. Instead of it's something we put in them, we pull it out of them. And we know that in our own journey, we feel so much better when we are sharing things that helps us to discover our own truths. I want you to think of a couple of thoughts here and respond to them as you think about them as you read the articles. The courage to teach is the courage to keep one's heart open to those very moments when the heart is asked to hold more than it is able, so that teacher and students and subject can be woven into the fabric of community that learning and living require. I know that as educators, we often feel that we're reaching the limits of our personhood and giving and giving and giving, and the courage to teach is to be real and authentic, and that sometimes wanes under the conditions in our schools today, as I've read through many of your papers, of teaching to the test. And because it is in a way much easier for us to just give in and teach to that test than it is to be real and ask the right kinds of questions of our students so that they can truly be educated. I want you to reflect on this statement also. Good teaching cannot be reduced to technique. Good teaching comes from the identity and integrity of the teacher. I've thought long and hard about that statement. Good teaching cannot be reduced to technique. When I started my teaching career, that's what I was taught. I was taught technique and methods on how to relate to students and how to conduct my classes, and I relied heavily on that. But I realized later, as going through the years, that technique and the strategies really don't accomplish what I want to accomplish in a classroom. They are more of a method for managing classes and controlling them. But if we are truly interested in education, then we have to think of something different than to rely on technique. And he talks about identity. And that requires us to know ourselves, to be real, to not try to pretend to be something we're not. And that is difficult for all of us because we've all found hiding places in our lives, or we wear masks or whatever it is. We pretend to be something. But when we unveil ourselves and we live that life of integrity, students know it and they see us as real. You can reflect on your own teachers and your own experiences over the years, and those teachers that are real with you, you appreciate them so much more than those who are pretending or using technique and strategy. And the other was identity and integrity. Being real is one thing, but being honest and living with yourself, not compromising. Students are more important in how you live your life and treat people than they are in what you say. Many teachers say they care and about students, but they don't treat them that way. So living that life of integrity and identity are so crucial to Parker Palmer's idea of living being that authentic teacher. Couple of more things. How does one discern what is integral to my life? What is it, those things that are really important in my life and that make me who I am, that really are driving me in my pursuit of education? And I think when we understand what is integral and what is really important, what are those elements of highest concern, then students will know that we're different and will see and listen to us differently. Why is remembering ourselves so important? Understand that the word remember is putting things back together. Think of our bodies as having many members. We have our hands, feet, head, ears. These are all members. And when they are separated from each other, we say they are dismembered. Well, so much of education, Parker Palmer says, is about dismembering things. We learn things in fragments. And there is little in education that puts it back into a whole. So when we remember things, that's when the light bulb goes off. We go, yeah, now I can relate it to myself. And so remembering is an important word for us to look at it maybe a little differently than we have in the past. It's not just recalling facts and figures, but it is putting it back together and making it whole. So how does Parker Palmer suggest we become authentic teachers? And I'll let you think about that, and it is something. How do I become this authentic teacher that I long for when I'm sitting in front of a teacher? And respond to this. When I devote myself to something that does not flow from my identity, that is not integral to my nature, I am most likely deepening the world's hunger rather than helping to alleviate it. How many teachers inflict their own pain on their students, the pain that comes from doing what never was or no longer is their true work? And I see that in many teachers where the pains that were inflicted upon them, they once again inflict upon their students. And so it is really important to think about how we learn best and consider what we're doing with our students and how that relates to our own experience. So anyway, I want you to reflect on some of these ideas and thoughts. One more, a couple more. Authority is granted to people who are perceived as authoring their own words, their own actions, their own lives, rather than playing the scripted role of at great remove from their own hearts. When teachers depend on coercive powers of law or technique, they have no authority at all. It's easy to go into a classroom and the students immediately look at you. You have this label as teacher or professor or doctor or whatever it is, and we often use that as the basis of our authority. But I promise you, that is not authority at all. That's a coercive way, and it doesn't work. Authority comes when you author your own words, when you speak from here. Students know it. And so authority, I ask the question, what is, sometimes we think that we speak from opinion. And there's a difference between opinion and authority. And it doesn't always have to do with age. Sometimes you listen to people and they say, well, this is my opinion. I get tired of people just speaking about opinions. I like them to speak with authority. This is what I believe. This is who I am. And it comes across a lot differently. And when you, and again, it's not a coercive way, but when they say things, Jesus, when he was on this earth, they kept asking, where do you get your authority from? Because you did not attend the schools. You don't have a degree. And he says, I get my authority by revealing what's in me. And when we reveal what's in us, that is our authority. And people will listen much differently. That has changed in my life over the years because I always authored other people's words, but not my own. I'm getting bit by bugs out here. So the question is that I want you to respond to, and maybe you, if you have time to respond to this, good teaching emerges when? When does good teaching emerge for you? And the last thing that I want to mention is power works from the outside, but authority works from the inside out. That's a powerful statement. I want you to understand that. When we use this outside authority, works from the outside in, for many kids that doesn't work. And it doesn't work in our classrooms. But when you work from the inside out, that's powerful. Anyway, I hope that this is giving you some meaning here as we come to the close of this course. And I'll talk to you a little bit about the final assignment, the assessment part. I'm still contemplating how to do that, but we'll get that done here shortly. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, give me a call. Thank you so much.